Thanks for joining me today. The topic today is float valve maintenance, something that is often forgotten about. In terms of maintenance, it's probably worthwhile checking the valves on a regular basis. So float valves, when you're around the trough, check them certainly every 12 months. But you may also notice some of them perhaps are weeping or they're not doing what you want to do. Maybe time for a service. Very, very simple to service Philmac float valves. There's really nothing to it. What I'm going to focus on here to begin with is our high flow float valve. The first thing with a valve, now in this case I have removed this one. This did come from the trough behind me, and you can service them underwater. I've taken this one out so you can actually see it. First thing to have a look at is just to make sure the lever itself, if you can see that, is moving freely. So there's no debris or caught in there. So that's operating exactly as we'd expect. Very simple to pull this one apart. A couple of clevis pins in the body there and just held together with one of these R pins. Very simple to pull the R pin out. If that is a little bit sticky, and they can get sticky over time, then a pair of pliers would suffice. Again, sometimes they get a bit sticky and you just need to give the clevis pin a tap. It just depends on where they've been installed. Having removed the clevis pin, there's nothing more we need to do that. Just probably worthwhile having a check just to make sure that adjustment is all done correctly and hasn't come loose. In this case, that nut's nice and tight, so that's all good. Do the same thing here on the top one. Simply pull that R pin out and remove that top clevis pin. What that then does is give us access to this flapper here, which contains the seal, and also enables us to look at the body. Now the body houses the seats, so we might take a look at that first. You can see here there's two seats, one in stainless steel and then one in plastic. The reason we have two in this case here is that there's an insert supplied with this valve when it's new, and we've pushed that insert in to give us the high pressure application. So it's a very simple case of having a visual look, but also just run your finger around it. That's probably the easiest way. You'll certainly pick up any lumps or bumps in there where there may be some damage. Now I've run it around the other one as well, the large one in stainless, in case that one's used again. I can't feel anything. There's nothing caught in there, so that looks pretty much good to go. In terms of the seal itself, you can see there it's kept inside this housing here. Very simple to remove. Simply a question of taking a screwdriver, and you can see there I actually get in under the seal itself, just waggle that in and lift it up there and simply remove it. Now we can do one of two things today. We can either reuse this seal, and yes, Philmac seals can be reused, simply by rotating it. So if this surface here was damaged, simply flip it over. I've got a brand new surface, I can reuse it. Alternatively, if we didn't want to do that, you can buy a spare part. Spare parts readily available from your local dealer. Generally though, you'll get one reuse of them, and I say only one is because over time rubbers do become hard, so just be aware of that. But certainly if this has been in the field for 2 or 3 seasons, we can certainly reuse this rubber seal. You can see there all I need to do is push that back in under there and just make sure that is right back in place so it's not going to come loose. Have a good check, that is completely retained, no problems there. So that's good to go for a couple more seasons. Reassembly is very straightforward, just the way it came out. Put the flapper into place, slide that clevis pin through, like that, just line it up there, and put our first R pin back in. So there, just get the R pin back in. I recommend, rather than just go back on one location, I push it the whole way through, so should cattle want to play with it, it gives you a bit more reassurance that it's not going to come loose. Then a question of grabbing the cam and the arm, and once again, same thing, grab the clevis pin and simply slide that clevis pin through, and this one's probably a little bit more difficult, but get that through, just line that up like that, push that through, and again, the same thing, grab the pin, hopefully you've left it in a position you can find it, slip that R pin through like that, all the way through. Terrific. Just check there's no, that all looks really good. So this valve is ready to reinstall, and we are good to go for another 2 or 3 seasons.